good morning, Wendell Foster. How's everybody doing today? How many night shifts do we have in here? All right, day shift. Make sure you book them once in a while. Keep them awake for us, okay? Now, this in-service is about OSHA. It's about hazardous chemicals and earthquakes, but it usually lasts about 40 minutes. So, we're in good shape there. If you feel like I'm taking too long, dragging it out, please throw a little Debbie at me. I'll take Coach too. And the more participation, the more energy I get, the faster it goes. So, dig in. But we're going to go ahead and get started. Does everybody have a test? All right, good deal. So, start off with, let's talk about hazardous chemicals. Who here has ever cracked open or read their SDS manual? It's boring, isn't it? Yeah, it's not the most riveting thing. It can put you to sleep, so read at your own risk. But there's good information in there. It will have what chemicals you work with on a daily basis, the hazards opposed to you, and some of them are hazardous, what you should wear in terms of PPE when touching it, and what to do if there's a spill or you get exposed to it. So please take some time once in a while to get familiar with it, to at least know what's in there. Now, does anybody know where the SDS manuals are located in the cottages?
Station.
And what color are they?
Yellow.
Yellow, in the nurse's station. What about over in court? Sandy. Where's that?
In each department.
Each department includes speech. I have one in the restroom there next to the eye wash station. Typically, you'll find these next to all the eye wash stations. Now, who knows where they're located over in the Elmer building? The media room, right next to the copiers, kind of hidden. Nobody really pays attention to it. It's right there in the media room, because even in that building, we have hazardous chemicals. So, please get familiar with it. Take time to know what's in there. It could help you later on. If you do find that there are chemicals that we have here that's not in there, let your supervisor know. We'll get the form, and if there's any new chemicals brought in, don't recommend yourself. Make sure we go through the proper channels so we can get an SDS sheet and show everybody. Now, when using chemicals, the bottle that it's in must have a label on there for very good reason. If I was using some Windex and the bottle's almost empty and I'm deciding I'm going to use it to disinfect things or pour bleach in there, is that a bad idea? What could happen?
Get explosion.
Explosion, and we could all die. Mustard gas, right?
Yeah.
So make sure the bottles that you use have a label on there and that the right chemical is in there. If you must put a chemical in a bottle, it had a previous chemical of a different type, rinse it out, clean it out, or just throw it away and get a new bottle. That's probably safest. Now, if you have something that's flammable, like gasoline or kerosene, is it a good idea to transfer that into a container like, I don't know, a styrofoam cooler?
No.
What could happen? Yeah. So, it will eat right through the styrofoam, it will make a big mess, so make sure that when dealing with flammable chemicals, that you keep them in the original container. Don't find a jug of something to throw it in there. It's not cool. Now, Matt did a great job here. I happened to catch him in the hallway using the right chemicals. The bottle had a label on it. It tells you what's in there, the hazards it poses, how to use it, and what PPEs to wear. What you also see on these labels are pictograms, which is a quick and easy way to know what hazards it does pose. Now, most of these are common sense, but then we have the stupid flame over circle. Does anybody know what that means? I really had no idea. I had to Google this one. It means that if this chemical is exposed to oxygen, it will actually make it to where it's more combustible, so there's going to be an explosion or fire. So if you see that, be very careful. What about the one at the bottom where it says environment? What specifically does that mean?
Don't flush it.
Yeah, that's right. Don't pour it down the drain. Don't flush it. This chemical can cause harm in the environment. We don't want three-eyed fish swimming in the Ohio River, do we? That's how it happens. So let's make sure we don't flush these chemicals. Now, I went over to the laundry area and saw where they're using this the right way. There is a detergent they're using. It is hazardous to people's health if used improperly. It has the right pictogram on there, along with how hazardous it can be, what you should do, and how you should use it. So if you don't have this on your chemicals, go find the right label, put it on there. When dealing with chemicals, it's important to keep them in a cool, dry place between the temperatures of 67 and 94. And don't store them next to food or drink. I saw this last year. I was looking at some chemicals, and there's some Gatorade stored right next to them. They're all touching together. What could happen there? The bottle of Gatorade is sitting right next to and touching the chemicals.
Grab the wrong one.
You grab the wrong water, you contaminate it. Chemicals can leach into other bottles. So do not store it next to food. It'll probably taste funny. Don't do it. And make sure you put the caps on securely. Now, is it a good idea to store something like bleach next to chlorine or ammonia? No, not at all. You'll kill us. Please don't do that. So any time you have a chemical that is of different hazards, they should not be stored together. So chlorine and bleach have a hazard that's different than ammonia. They should be stored separately. And whenever you're reading the SDS manual, you'll realize how to prevent accidents with these, because it will tell you what PPEs to wear. Make sure you follow that. Anytime you have new employees coming on the floor, they should crack that manual open and know what they're working with daily, and also make sure that they have the right equipment necessary so they don't get injured. So speaking of PPEs, easy question. What PPEs do we have available at our workplace? Gloves, eyeglasses, mask,
Shoe covers.
what's that? Shoe covers,
Gowns.
goggles, gowns, all the above. That's right. So if we have it, let's make sure we use it. If we need some and they're not available, let your supervisor know, because we can't get those. And if by chance a chemical is spilled, make sure you isolate that area so nobody walks through it and gets hurt themselves. So to isolate it, you can either have wet floor signs put up, caution tape, or you could also have somebody stand there and direct traffic. Just make sure they're not standing in the chemical off to the side. At that same time, you want to make sure somebody grabs the SDS manual to get instructions on how to clean this chemical up. And of course, use the right PPEs. If by chance there's an exposure incident where this chemical gets on you, it could be on your skin, it could be in your eyes, you want to make sure you report to nursing as soon as possible. You may not feel the effects of it right now, but could you feel the effects later on? And you have technically 24 hours to seek treatment, to go to the nurse and do an instant report. But let's be honest, within 24 hours, a lot can happen. If you go past that threshold, you're going to have a whole new set of issues. Go report it right away. Don't waste time on it. I'd rather things are reported, it's not necessary, than wish you report it, it's way past beyond time to do so. And if you do find these chemicals on you, know where your safety locations are, such as if you get it in your eyes, do you know where your eye wash stations are located? So, I see it. Where are your eye wash stations? Nurse's station. And Sandy, where are they located, Court? That's right. All the same locations the SD manuals are, such as in speech, it's in the restroom. In the maintenance shop, they have these on the walls. In laundry, they have the same place where they have the detergents in the dirty linen room. So look and know these locations before you need it. Now, typically, you'll have the bottles hanging on the wall here at Widow Foster. We check these regularly. We make sure they're still in compliance, not expired. But there are some areas that don't have these, such as the Elmer Building and SCO homes. They have these sinks that has a nozzle that pulls out to rinse your eyes out. Do you want to use hot or cold water? For obvious reasons. Unless you just don't like somebody. No. Cold water, please. Now, a lot of people don't realize the sink in the Elmer Building copy room, the media room, actually has a pull-out nozzle. So, Todd figured he would demonstrate it for us. Poor Todd. had an accident one day. But Ryan was there to save his life. So Ryan, you can see his concern, can't you? He is truly worried. He's right after. So he takes Todd, forces him down in the sink, underwater, waterboards him a bit, then uses the nozzle, forces the ass open, sprays out his ass with cold water, please. And that was how Ryan saved Todd's life. So when you see Ryan, please give him a big old pat on the back for his effort there. And again, after the incident, you need to report it as soon as possible. Do the incident report and help us to prevent this from happening to somebody else. Now, I love talking about electricity. I've done a lot of stupid stuff with electricity. Don't be like me. Back when I worked night shift here, there was this one time I got home, I tried to go to bed. You know how it is on night shift. You're up all night, it's time to go to bed, you can't sleep. You have to work that night too. You're dying a little bit inside. So you go outside, you try to do something to get yourself busy, tired, so you can sleep. So I was rewiring my workshop. So I grabbed my wire cutters, I grabbed the wires, and I start hacking away that sucker. Oh my gosh, the pain. I heard this loud boom, lights went really bright, hair stood up on my arms, and all the lights went out, and my wife was yelling. What do you think happened?
You can turn the power off.
Yes, don't be lazy. Don't get fooled just because you're tired, you're going to skip a step. Always double check your work when you're dealing with electricity, because that could have killed me. And it really hurt. So, be mindful, respect electricity, because it's dangerous. Now, if you're eating toast in the morning and that stupid piece of bread is stuck in that toaster, you have a fork. Should you go for it? No. Because your wife will get mad when you ruin the toaster you got on your wedding day. Don't do it. Now, what if I'm using a device that plugs into an outlet and the wires are kind of frayed because my dogs are chewing on it? Is that a good idea? No, that's how you burn houses down. Let's make sure we don't ever do that. But now, how many of you have a mom that on Christmas time plugs every single light to one outlet, like you see here? Yes, please coach your moms. And if it's you, please don't do that. Because you can overload that circuit, cause a fire, it's dangerous. Now let's talk about the green electrical boxes we have outside of cottage D and outside of cottage A. Have you ever seen these big metal boxes just sitting in the grass? If you were to hit one with one of our window fluster vans and tip it over, inside there are high voltage power wires that could kill you. So don't sit on those and don't hit them with the van. Because there I was at Window Foster, walking out of the Emerald building several years ago. I see somebody in the Window Foster van for some reason backing up into the driveway of the cottage A. And they are going, and boom! I see that huge metal container flip over, it wobbles, it falls back down, and you know what the person did, like we all would. Perhaps you may see that. Oh, we're good. So they pull forward. Now I'm watching. At this point, I'm trying to get their attention. They back up. Boom! They hit it again. I kid you not. At this point, I do my little hobble run trying to get to them, yelling. Put in drive, they pull forward. What do you think happened? Yes. If you don't cut your wheels, you're going to keep hitting it. So remember that. Also, be mindful when you're backing up that these things, if you hit them, they can kill somebody. And if you see somebody sitting on one, get them off of there because they can shock them. Now, Window Foster, we all know, don't use extension cords. Don't use the little space heaters that keep you all nice and toasty because somebody keeps cranking down the thermostat to 68. We don't use those here. Make sure we follow that. And don't pull west. And if there's a broken wire, frayed wires, don't try to rig it together and tape it because it does hurt when you get shocked. And you can kill people. If you see something, say something. Just be mindful, be nice to the person, say, hey, Wes, Come on now. You're going to get hurt. Let's move on. How many of y'all work in an office? Is working in an office dangerous? Yes, it can be. What dangers can we face in an actual office? What was that?
Co-workers.
Co-workers. Who do you work with? What are the other dangers of working in an office? How many of us have back problems? What causes those back problems when you're working in an office? Yeah, do that again, say it for everybody to see. Hunching over. Your workplace is not set up for you. Ergonomics is important. So when you're sitting somewhere, working somewhere, especially in an office, make sure it's set up for you. When you're sitting in a chair, your arms should be gently resting on the armrest and your shoulders are relaxed. If your shoulders are all hunched up, you're going to have an issue later on in life, or at least that night when you get home. When you're sitting in a chair and your hips are back all the way, your knees need to be lower than your hips. Raise that chair up. And be mindful of people who are short like me. I'm 5'6". I hate all you tall people. Because when I get in your chairs, I feel like a little kid. My legs are dangling. Make sure you lower it down a little bit. Your feet should be flat on the floor. Keep your monitor within arm's reach. And your eyes should be at the top of that monitor where you're looking slightly down at it. And put a blue filter on so you don't hurt your eyes. Set up your workspace so it's least likely to be harmful for you. But ergonomics applies not just to people that work in offices. DSPs, laundry workers, housekeepers, maintenance, all of them. Make sure you use the right tool for the job. I don't know if we still have them, but we used to have in the cottages these little bitty rooms that had the black metal handle. They're about that tall. To even use it one-handed, you have to stoop over like this and do some sweeping. Y'all remember these? I hope they disappeared because they will hurt your back. When you use the right tool for the right job. And let's remember also, if somebody breaks a broom handle, it's not cool to cut off the top of it and use it as a little stubby one because you're going to get hurt. If you don't have the right tool for the job, make sure you let your supervisor know. Everything should be to the right height for you. This also includes maintenance men. Your tools should fit your hand perfectly so it does not cause an undue strain. If you're having a problem with this, let your supervisor know. Perhaps we can adjust it, or maybe there's some stuff around here that we can swap it out with. Also, be mindful when we're lifting things. How many of y'all ever do this? Yeah. You know, you go to Aldi's, go to Myers, load up that trunk. You get home, you pop it open, and you see all these bags of handles. Slide your arms through most of them. You get your fingers in the rest of them. Cut off all your circulation. You do this, Beth, don't you? Yeah. You do the walk and shake, a little walk to the door, and you realize, I forgot about the door handle. So, don't do this. Not just at home, but at work. Take multiple trips. And if you have kids, remember, free labor. Get them out of the house, they can carry the groceries in, right? So, don't be like this guy. And let's talk about heat-related and cold-related injuries. Can hot weather injuries be prevented? Yes. Does it ever get hot outside when we're transporting people to therapies or even just walking to your car? Or about taking somebody to Holiday World or going to the barbecue festival? So should we prepare for that event the day of? When's the best time? That's right, the day before the event, you want to hydrate. You want to keep in mind to wear the right clothing with the temperatures you're going to be in. And not just be ready with the hydration, but you want to acclimate yourself to the temperatures you're going to be in well in advance. So if I'm going to be working in a 120-degree factory, I'm going to start preparing myself 3 weeks before by exposing myself to hot temperatures gradually over and over again until next thing you know it's not that bad. There was a guy that used to live here named Brad Johnson. Y'all remember Brad? And when I first got here, dude couldn't be outside for very long. He drove a lot, risk of dehydration, and I'm sure there's other reasons, but it even said don't be outside for too long, limit sun exposure. He had the best pale and pasty skin I've ever seen anybody have. It was like really vampire pale. And he started riding his bike outside in March. He said, we have a guy who needs to be limited outdoor exposure. And we've increased his fluid intake. He starts riding his bike outside in March, every single day, April, May, June, July. Middle of August, he's riding his bike with the best tan I've ever seen him have, better than most of y'all have ever had. Y'all be jealous. Awesome leg muscles, and he's doing fine. Now, the poor staff were dehydrated, barely keeping up with the guy, but he had acclimated himself to the weather. It's what we should do if we know severe temperatures are on the way. That way it's not a shock to your system. You have to work outside transporting if you're not prepared. But what about cold weather injuries? Can they be prevented? What's the best way to prevent these? What's that?
Dress appropriately.
Dress appropriately. What is appropriate dress for cold weather?
Layers.
Yeah, lots of layers. And don't forget, can you get dehydrated when it's cold outside?
Yes.
Yes. So make sure you drink lots of coffee. No, don't drink coffee. Don't make it worse. Limit your bourbon intake. It's not good for either. Water's what you want. And should you wait till you're thirsty to start drinking water? No, again, you want to hydrate the day before. But what about hot temperatures when it comes to sunscreen? Have you ever used a bottle of sunscreen that was expired?
Yes.
Yeah, I have too. I ain't cheap like that. It does not work out well. It gets to the point to where it's kind of separated with water versus whatever stuff to put in there. You go put it on, it's as effective as water itself. You get horrible burns. Your wife says, I told you so. So make sure that your sunscreen is not expired and has a proper SPF. Also, you want to put it on at least 30 minutes before the person goes outside. Thank you, Michelle Miller, for that one. Appreciate it. And reapply at least every 2 hours or more frequently based upon what the nurse or what a doctor says. Now, in talking about slip and falls, we've had a lot of these lately. Sometimes you can't help it. A lot of them can be prevented. So be situationally aware of your environment that you work in and look for the hazards, such as loose rugs, a drastic change in elevation. I'm talking about the manhole covers that were assessed in our driveways that I always trip on. Look out for the horrible speed bumps that we have over here. And let's not forget, walking into a room at night to do bed checks, throw on that night light. If you don't have a night light that works in there, go to the nurse's station. I've replaced every flashlight with an LED one that's super bright. Don't shine it in your eyes. I mean, it's super bright. But use it to make sure you don't trip and fall. And let's talk about other areas, such as core, in the pool area. When people are back to swimming again, make sure the bottom of their feet are dry so they don't slip. And also, don't forget to wear the right type of shoes for those conditions. Should you wear Crocs here at Widow Falls? No. Are Crocs a good idea? No. They don't have a good solid rubber sole that provides traction. What about flat-soled sandals that look real pretty and they're bedazzled? Is that a good idea?
No.
No. It's not about looking good when it comes to safety. It's about what works. So wear reasonable shoes with good traction. Also, the parking lot is very dangerous at times. It's been twice this past year I've had to intervene and make sure people didn't get run over. A lot of times people are driving through, they're not paying attention, not expecting a staff member to be walking there or somebody in a wheelchair. So don't be mindful just of your own situations for those people around you. And stop and look both ways before you cross there. This is a training facility. Some of the best training that happens here is when people observe us and our natural environment and how we handle things. So if we're going to stop and look both ways before crossing a street or a parking lot, well, the people that live here are going to be more likely to do the same. And I am really bad about walking and using my phone at the same time. So the hypocrite I'm about to be, please don't do it. If you see me online, I'm trying to break the habit. Remind me, 'cause I don't realize I do it anymore. It's just a habit. But have you ever seen the videos on YouTube or Facebook when people are walking on their phones and they're texting, they fall right in that manhole cover that's open? Really funny videos if you haven't seen it. If that ever happens to you, that can kill you. Don't let it happen to you. And don't walk into poles or a light pole, sign poles. It does happen. If you see a hazard, don't wait to report it. I've had people put on the in-service test that there are certain hazards around Wendell Foster. Well, honestly, it's going to take a day or two to read every single test. Report it now. Let your supervisor know so it can be handled right away. And if you find yourself using ladders, platforms, lifts, bucket lifts, you're probably doing something wrong. That's usually a maintenance job, but if you do have to help them out, some things to keep in mind. Maintain 3 points of contact. 3 parts of your body should be touching that surface at all times. Have somebody hold that ladder so it doesn't fall, and if it does fall, that somebody can get you help right away. Because if they're not there, you could be laying there on the ground for a long time wishing you had help. And if you must go to a great height, wear a fall rest harness. We have those here. It's a harness you wear. It has a rope, a bungee attached to it that attaches to a solid device. If you fall, it pulls tight, it stops your fall so you don't hit the ground. And the last part, this does not take very long. I know the past several in-services, we have really spoken a lot about earthquakes. There's good reason for it. The last time I had an earthquake was in the early 1800s. It was an 8.1 on the Richter scale, and there were 2 others following that they said can be called an aftershock. It was always ordered to say 1. They were around 7.1 and 7.5. When these occurred, the Mississippi River flowed backwards. The boats that were in the water went straight up in the air. Most of them sank, rest of them were grounded. New islands were created in the river. Land masses sunk down. Entire farms disappeared, people included. Because there's this thing that happens called liquefaction of soil. And in this area, we're very susceptible to it. Is when you have soil like clay that starts shaking in earthquakes, it turns in the same consistency as water. And so anything that's sitting on top of it at that time will sink straight into the ground. And you can get online and see a picture of this. There are cars that have sank right into the concrete. And so you only see the back end up in the air. It looks like something out of a movie. And we know that will happen in this area. It's one of the biggest dangers. So you can imagine why we take this so seriously. And we're over 100 years past due for an earthquake. And the state of Kentucky is taking it so seriously that they've actually started using caves to store supplies in. Sarah and I went to a meeting that they had last year, and they were telling us about these caves, full of trailers, packed with generators, food, water, medical supplies, and a lot of body bags. Because they know it will be a mass casualty event. There will be a lot of people who would die. They also know that 80% of all buildings in the state of Kentucky will fall. Now, when they say fall, we're not talking pancake. It's all rubble and nothing survived. It'll usually be a lot of partial collapse, especially in the concrete cinder blocks. The buildings made out of wood have the greater chance of surviving somewhat. My office is in cinder blocks, so please dig me out, or at least go feed my dogs. We need to prepare for this. It's not a matter of if, but when it happens. And if the state of Kentucky and the federal government is taking it this seriously, we should be kind of worried about it too. We can expect when this happens, the same event that happened last time. They felt it in Canada. That's pretty significant, isn't it? They rang the church bells in the Northeast, and it changed our entire landscape in Kentucky. And be mindful that we've had several earthquakes happen already in Tennessee and eastern Kentucky, so they know things are happening. The good thing is, we're aware of it, we have a plan, but are all plans perfect? No, we can only do what we can do. But we do have a plan, because we need to be honest about it and realize it's going to happen. So first things first, in an earthquake, Where do you take shelter? Yes.
Heavy furniture.
Underneath heavy furniture is the best. That'd be a desk, a table, and when you get under there, hang on tight. They say it usually throws you out from underneath of it, so they encourage you, grab the base of that object and hang on to it. Secondary will be doorways. And because we're at Widow Foster, we have people in wheelchairs. It will be very difficult to get them out of that chair and under the table when the whole ground is moving, right? So we're going to have them go into a doorway. We're going to hover over them, protect our head and neck. At the same time, we're protecting theirs. And try to hang on tight. Now, don't do what your gut reaction is and try to run outside, because that is not safe. Because you have power lines that fall, and you have parts of the building that fall off, it's more likely to hit you and kill you. Wait until the shaking stops, then go outside. But after the first earthquake, are we done? No. So you got to be prepared. Whatever damage has happened the first time, it's going to be multiplied after that. So be prepared to be safe. And if you smell gas, the odor of rotten eggs, please don't smoke, don't light anything, match, no lighters. Do not flip the light switch. Have you ever seen a light switch spark? So if you flip that switch, you can cause a great explosion or fire, which is one of the bigger risks in earthquakes. When the earthquake happens, we will take immediate reaction. We will help people who are in immediate needs, try to stabilize patients. But when buildings fall down, and somebody is stuck inside, if I'm stuck inside my office and you know it doesn't look stable, what do we teach people on first aid? To make sure you're seen as safe? So don't go in there to pull anybody out. Don't pull me out if that scene is not safe. If you think the building could come down. Because you could kill yourself too, right? And if you kill yourself doing that, who's going to be around to help the other people? So you save the people you can in a safe manner and wait for extra help to come by to dig everybody else out. After we've done all this, we have to know what to do and how to do it. And a lot of people are going to have ideas. But what you need to do is wait until the chain of command tells you how to act and what to do. Just think about this. In an earthquake, we may have loss of utilities. We can have the sewer pipes bust. If the sewer pipes burst and we don't listen to the chain of command, we start flushing toilets. What could happen? Yes, that would be a nasty mess. And it could cause a lot of infection. Or better yet, what the water lines bust. And we have limited supply of water here. If we let mob rule happen, everybody starts taking water, doing their own thing with it. What are the people who live here going to have to drink? So you see, there is a need for a plan. And we have the plan. Your chain of command will spell it out and let you know what the plan is as soon as it happens. So be mindful of that. Also, we have radios in every workstation. Take them out of the building where there's no risk of gas exposure. Turn it on and listen to the radio, because they will have broadcast messages everywhere what to do, how to do it. And again, be ready for the aftershocks. They will be a great threat. Also, check everybody for injuries, not just the people who live here, though. Your co-workers, you may have people who are visitors here, guests, or somebody walking through. Check on them and look at the charge nurse for directions on how to provide that treatment. And there may be a time where we're not inhabitable. Buildings fall down, right? We have plans set up of what to do, but who will make that decision? That's right. The chain of command. When that happens, there are places we can go. We have agreements set up already, such as here in town. We have several agreements for a place that's air conditioned, heated, provides a shelter, it's climate controlled. We bring our own supplies. But knowing that it will affect everybody in this area, we also have a working agreement with a facility, actually two facilities, right outside of Fort Knox, that we can be airlifted to. It's right next to where the Red Cross is, up their headquarters. So we do have plans in place, but we are not the ones who are going to implement it. It will be implemented by the chain of command. And as with any emergency, remember to remain calm. It's what part of the plans are for, is to give us a sense of peace that there is something we can do. But also be mindful that if this happens, and everybody's good at your home, we're going to need help here, please come here and help out. Because do you think that we'll get response from emergency management right away? No. How many healthcare facilities are in this town? A ton. And I imagine the hospital and Red Cross will be the first priority. Not to mention every single creek and river that the roads flow over or go over, those will probably fail. So you can imagine the nightmare for transportation this could be. So if you live local and you're able to get here when an event like that happens, we will appreciate all the help we can get. Now, on the brighter side, who's going to the Wendell Foster Half Marathon? Show of hands. Oh, I'm not running it. I'll guarantee you that. Who else is running it? Is there anybody here running it? All right. So if you're going to be there, if you've already signed up, I'm putting it out there right now. We need all the help we can get. So if you've already signed up for it, please don't let your friends know where you're taking them. Get them in the car. Just bring them up here automatically. They'll forgive you. But we need all the help we can get. If you're off that day, if you have even an hour in which you can come up here and help us, please give us Sarah Poole, and she will let you know what you can do and how you can help. And don't forget, the Kiwanis Chili Cook-Off is coming up. Tickets are $10 at the front desk. The $10 ticket will give you the opportunity to taste all the symbols they have. And if you have no shame like me, go back several times, get all the symbols you can get. Free dinner, right? They will have food set up for kids, candy, hot dogs, drinks. The proceeds will go back to the organization that set the booth, and Wendell Foster does have one, so please come out and support us. And there will be a live and silent auction, so you may be able to get some good deals there. All goes to a good cause. So that will be the chili cook-off coming up on February 23rd on Saturday. Now, before we leave, please make sure you've completed your test. Leave them at the center of the table. And